Hello, hope you guys are having a good day. So today I just wanted to talk about a couple of things. And first, I wanted to talk about something that I was getting as I was cleaning a house. I was getting all this download of information, as I usually do when I clean house or do mundane things like that. Anyway, but before I talk about that, I wanted to show you guys some candles that I found, and I found these at my local cannabis dispensary. The coolest idea, number one, and they're wonderful, number two. So we got two, and one of them, now these are made with the essential oils or active ingredients that offer the sort of aromatherapy, therapeutic benefits. So these are terpene infused. If you want to look up terpenes, I'll put a link below. Believed to enhance your mood, either calming or energizing. And they really have nothing to do with the psychoactive effects of like cannabis. In other words, what I'm trying to say is if you burn these, you're not going to get stoned or anything like that. It doesn't have that ingredient or those active ingredients in the candle. It's strictly scent from like the essential oils. They're like a little aromatherapy. They're terpenes is what they're called. And Lush uses these in their products as well. The first one I have here, the yellow one, is called limonene. And it is the most wonderful citrusy aroma. It's strong, but it's natural, and it's better than any lemon candle you've ever smelled. And I mean, it's just, and these were $11. Wow. And I haven't even lit the candle yet. I, honest to God, use them as without lighting them. Sometimes I light them, sometimes I don't. This is, like I say, limonene, so it's kind of energizing. Lush uses limonene and some of their, and it shows on their ingredients list. The next one I bought is the linalool, and this one is for relaxation. And they show pictures of lavender on the front, and that's pretty much what it smells like. This terpene provides great symptom relief for anxiety, depression, and stress. So it's calming, and I've already lit this one, and it's gorgeous. Oh my goodness. If you like lavender, this is incredible. I've never smelled any lavender candle ever, no matter what brand, that it smells quite as strong as this. And this is the real deal. This is full on essential oil. So what I do with this one, when I'm not lighting it, is I actually just unscrew it and leave it on my bedside table when I'm needing some calming. Conversely, if I'm needing some clarity, if I'm kind of fuzzy and I need to sort of energize or have some mental clarity, I'll use the limonene one. And I'll either burn it or I'll just take the lid off and set it there because you can smell it when you're near it. So I just wanted to show these to you. And naturally, being a candle freak and being in the cannabis community, I had to purchase those, and so I thought I'd show those to you. So the other thing that I was wanting to talk to you about is just some things that I was getting. For those of you who don't know, I'm claircognizant, clairsentient, a little bit clairvoyant, and a little bit clairaudient as well. But my main gift, my main clair, if you will, is claircognizance. And I've had these gifts since I was very young, since I can remember. So honestly, if you were to know me from the time I was, 2 until now, you really wouldn't know that I was a psychic, or, you know what I mean? You really wouldn't notice anything different about me because it's just part of me. I've always been like this. It's not like my gifts just turned on a couple of years ago. I mean, this is who I am. So it's not anything different to me. It's just like regular, everyday, mundane kind of life, So anyway, that said, and for those of you who you're going to think I'm crazy, and that's okay. I figure as long as I'm entertaining. So, and that's fine. So, what I was getting was more information from the Creator about, or from my higher self. Sometimes I get messages from the Creator, sometimes I get them from my higher self. I can always tell when I get information from the Creator or from my higher self. From the light side of things, is because I feel this humongous, I'm trying to point to it, this humongous energy that goes from, I'm going to stand up, that goes from here to like right here, like this whole area in my body, just starts sort of almost pulsing and radiating with this loving feeling. And that's how the Lord, our Creator, God, Source, whatever you choose to call your Creator, if you believe in that, or for you atheists, if you believe in quantum physics, you can call it, because it is all the same thing. It's that, those energy vortexes, those quarks, and those all of those quantum mechanics particles. I feel it. I feel this intense accumulation of that energy in my chest area and upper stomach area, and it feels very good. It feels very physically and mentally and emotionally good. It feels sort of nourishing. It feels very loving. That's the most way I can explain it. So anyway, that's how I know that it's a loving being that I want information from. So I was getting information about fear again. They talked to me a lot about fear. And they were trying to teach me about how I operate with my own fears and prejudices of things, places, or people in my life. And I always say that prejudice is actually fear, because in my world, from what I've been shown since I was little, from both the dark and the light side of the spirit world, is I'm shown that fear is a very powerful force, just like love is a powerful force. And many people think that the opposite of love is hate, but I don't believe so. I believe the opposite of love is fear, because love is a very expansive, I think hate is just a symptom of fear. Love is a very open, expansive, outward energy. Fear is a very inward energy. Hate comes from anger and fear mixed together, is that's my opinion anyway. And so fear is what keeps us from being the best me that I can be. For instance, fear keeps me from trying things. Fear keeps me from talking to people when I'm out and about during my day. Fear keeps me from standing up for someone because I think people will judge me. Fear keeps me from being nice to people in public for fear that they're going to hurt me, or I fear other people are going to look at me and think, oh my God, what a naive person. We really fear judgment from other people. And that's a fear. That's a bona fide fear that it's like part of being human, right? So the opposite of fear is very freeing. And what I've learned, and what they really were trying to impress upon me today, is that when you let go of fear, or when I do things in the face of fear, I rise up a little bit in vibration every time I do that. And they actually showed me like a picture of this in my head. So I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. So let's say I have to go buy dinner at the grocery store. So I go to the grocery store and there's an accident on the way there, and I'm like in traffic for 15 minutes, and it's only like 2 blocks away. And I finally get there and it's crowded as heck, and I get, my meat or whatever and veggies or whatever I'm going to make for dinner, and I'm standing in line, and I have like a 1 over the cash only limit, but oh well. So I'm waiting in this huge ass line, and there's like only one teller, and it's rush hour. I don't know why they only have one teller, and they have like 50 people in line. And there's a girl in like the third person behind the person that's paying at the cashier, like 3 behind her, and she's missing, she's $1.50 short. And she discovers, I see her looking in her purse, and she says she's $1.50 short. She's talking to nobody, she's talking mostly to herself, and she says, oh shit. And she's got 2 little kids with her, and she looks like she's having just as bad a day as I am. So fear is what is going to keep me from paying attention to her. So the opposite of fear in this scenario would be to look at her and give her a $5 bill, or $2, because she needs $1.50. So give her $2 of what I have for her so that she can go about her merry way. Fear would tell me, you don't have the money to do that. Don't give her anything that you don't have. Fear would say, oh my God, just keep it moving. Just look down. Maybe she'll go away. Fear would say, everyone's going to look at you if you give this girl $1.50. That's what fear is. Restrictive, and it keeps you where you're at. And in some cases, it even takes you down a notch in vibration. So what I've learned throughout the years is that if I push through that and just do what I know somewhere way in there, I know what's the right thing to do is. And so I reach in my purse, I give her a couple bucks. She smiles at me and looks at me like, is this person really giving me $2? And I'm looking at, and there for a split second I say, oh God, she's going to think I'm a freak. She's going to say, what are you doing? And be offended and say no and push me away. Say, no, I've got it. That's what she's going to do. But she doesn't. She looks and she goes, oh my goodness, thank you so much. You don't know what this means to me. My husband is sick and he's in the hospital, and I have to go pick him up, and I just absentmindedly came to pick up something. I thought it would take just a second to get something to eat so I could cook for him when he comes home, and I wound up being in this line for 30 minutes, and I'm so late, and I couldn't, and so, you know what I mean? And then she waves and she's on her way. Now, what you've just did there, You have just increased your vibration. You did. You pushed through a fear. You saw fear. You moved it out of the way. You did something else, and you increased your vibration. And if those things, they show me these things. When I do that, I increase my vibration. And every time I do something little like that, wherever it is, I increase my vibration. And that increasing your vibration and not paying attention to fear is what is going to catapult us into the next higher vibration of ourselves. That is what is going to anchor us into the fourth and fifth dimension. You hear about ascension. You hear about heaven on earth. You hear about these things. This is what I'm talking about. This is what they're talking about. They give me instructions, real almost technical instructions on how to do it. I mean, so that it's great. So half the time I don't even have to think about it. And I've been doing this all my life because, naturally, I believe I was sort of an introverted child. I was always scared of people, and I was always asking my parents, who's that? And I would always hide behind my dad. You know what I mean? I was always hide, and I was just shy and awkward. And I remember the day that I was standing in line to do something at school, and it was for PE. I think we were exercising that day outside or running a race or something. And I remember I was dreading going when it was my turn. I think we had to run and then jump over a hurdle or something, and I was just like, and so I remember, just not wanting to go and wishing I was last in line. And something said, it would be a lot easier on you, and it wouldn't feel so awful if you went first, instead of waiting and waiting and waiting and thinking and waiting and torturing yourself and wondering and making up scenarios in your head of what's going to happen when you run, and feeling weird and wondering if people are going to be laughing at you. And it was just torturous waiting in line. The longer I waited, the more I would hate being there. So they impressed upon me, go first, just once, and see what the difference is. So I did. I remember I was I don't know, 7 or 8 years old, and I went first. And I remember I didn't do fabulously. I didn't do great. I didn't suck though. And I think I even tripped once. I didn't fall down, but I did sort of trip, which was something I would actually think of when I was waiting in line. What if I trip and people laugh at me? You know what? But I didn't do too badly at all. And no one laughed, and no one clapped, and no one really cared. And they were just doing what they were doing before I went, and they did the same thing when everybody else went. And so, but I was done. And I watched as everyone else went, and I realized I didn't have to worry. And I was free at that moment to just look at the sky if I wanted to, talk to my friends. I was better off than the poor person in the last of the line who didn't want to go, right? So that's when I learned that when I'm afraid of something, the best thing to do is what I don't want to do, right? The best choice for me in those scenarios where I'm afraid of something is to do the opposite of what I want to do. And every time I've done that in my life, every time I've done the opposite of what I want to do, the opposite of what feels good to me, it's been incredible. It's been incredible every single time. I feel good. I feel like a lot of negative energy just comes off of me from the day. I feel more sort of like buoyant and happy. I feel energized. I feel empowered. And what I don't see, or what things that I don't, I'm not aware that are happening, are the spiritual things that are happening because of the pushing through fear. And it happens the same way for everybody, is how I understand it. Is that if you want to know the quickest way to develop in your spirituality, and the quickest way for your Kundalini to rise, and the quickest way for you to connect with your higher self or to source, and the quickest way for your third eye to open, I'm told, is by doing the opposite of fear throughout your day in little ways. And it works, because that's what happens to me. And when I do that, I can tell that my vibration is increasing, and anytime that happens, I always get this little sort of boost in my clairvoyant sight. So it's like they give you a breadcrumb, and you take the breadcrumb and it leads you to something else, and another gift, and that leads you to a gift, and then that leads you to another breadcrumb, and then that leads you to a gift. You know what I mean? That's how it works. And so that's all that I wanted to say about this in this particular video. I had some questions on readings, psychic readings that I've done, or psychic medium readings that I've done, or tarot readings that I've done. I just had some questions from folks on how that's all done. And so how it's done is that I charge $55 for 45-minute reading, and it takes me about half an hour previous to prep. And I usually ask the person to have at least 3 questions that they want answered ready before the reading. But they can also ask me something, that comes up during the reading. And if they don't have any questions, I just, and that's fine too, I just then do the reading on the information that comes up for them during the reading. And I do it over the internet, I do it over the phone, I do it via Skype audio or Skype video. I do it in person. I've done most of my readings for clients via the phone. And I'm going to be asking some of you clients that don't mind, that would like to leave reviews on my Facebook site, Spirit Voyage, so that you can get an idea, that others find my readings helpful, and they find them to be true. And so I take payments for my readings via PayPal, and I have I'll leave that PayPal address below, and I'll leave the link to my Facebook site. And if you have any other questions about those, you can email me or message me via that Facebook site, Spirit Voyage. And that's about it. So thanks if you're watching. Thanks so much for watching. And for those of you who are subscribing to my channel, thank you so much for subscribing. I really appreciate it. And I hope you guys have a good day. We'll talk to you on the next video. Bye.